Hello and welcome. This is James Blanchard Cisneros at your service. Today I will be reading and making a couple comments on the August 14th post, and I trust that I will assist both of us on our journey. Here we go. We protect and defend ourselves against the ego's illusions because we feel threatened. When we feel threatened, we weaken ourselves by acknowledging an illusionary part of us as real. Those illusionary fears create in us the need to wear armor and lift up our sword, all in an effort to strike at shadows that seem to taunt our every move. What those who have bought into the ego's illusionary world, those that have given the ego a power it does not have, do not realize is that it is their own beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that give rise to and support the shadows that so threaten them. With every defense, they believe they are getting better at fighting back and defending against judgment, worry, fear, and anger. And yet still, for some unknown reason, their internal conflict and chaos keeps growing. We think our armor and sword offer safety, but how many times have our defenses truly ever protected us, offered us the eternal peace of mind we so deeply desire? We are as God Source created us. We are loving, forgiving, compassionate beings. We are perfect in God Source's eyes. Everything other than that is an illusion. Every other thought that the ego has tried to program into us is illusionary. And thus, when our brother or sister says or does something that tweaks those illusionary ambers within us, let us remember that they are simply buying into their own fairy tale. And if we buy into what they're saying as true, then we are buying into the false part of us as real. And so, as a symbol, if they call you a dodo head, that symbolic representation of that dodo head is really every single possible illusionary judgment or words of anger or any other description of yourself other than your truth. Dodo bird, dodo brain, or whatever. Every single thing or description a brother or sister can make of you that is not your truth is that phrase. They can phrase it a million different ways, but it's all the same thing. It's all false. And so, whatever they can tell you, you're dumb, or you're stupid, or you're not good enough, or you're not worthy enough, or you're ugly, or it's all the same thing. It's all the same words. The ego would have them separate, would have you separate in your fantasy world, in your illusionary world, all those words as different, all those descriptions as different. They are not. They're all the same, because they're all false. You can go into a fairy tale and read 1,000 descriptions in the fairy tale, but they're all, in the fairy tale, they're all false. So if you have a character in a fairy tale describing another character in 1,000 different ways, It doesn't matter what those 1,000 different ways are. They are all illusionary. They are all not true. They are all false. And so to call those 1,000 different descriptions and say they're dodo brain or whatever, they're all the same. They're all 1,000 different ways of saying dodo brain. You have a dodo brain. There's a million ways of saying that, and they're all false. They're not true. And so we can defend ourselves innumerable ways against those thousands and hundreds of thousands of different judgments that others might make of us. But there's no point to it. There's no point to defending what does not need defense. And so you can spend your life defending yourself against something that does not need to be defended. And what do you get? Nothing. You are your truth, and that's it. There's nothing to defend. God sees you, God's source sees you as perfect because you are her creation. And regardless of what the ego has programmed into 1,000 different people, it doesn't matter. They're all 1,000 different lies. Only your brother and sister can define you as your truth, which is a loving, compassionate, forgiving being. That's your truth. That's it. Period. Nothing else needs to be defended against. Nothing else needs defense. You do not need to defend yourself against judgments or anger or resentment or jealousy. It is absolutely unnecessary because it is false. It is not real. It is an illusion that they have bought into as real, and that because you're defending, you have bought into as real. And once you decide not to defend, once you decide to turn the other cheek, you'll see that it is nothing. There's nothing to defend against. You could put up your illusionary sword and defend yourself, put up some armor, put up some mold around you. It is useless. Useless. It is useful in your fairy tale. You can fight the dragon all you want and look at the shadows and fear them all you want. They're not real. Nothing other than your truth is real. Nothing other than your brothers and sisters' truth is real. That's it. And you need not defend yourself against that, against any illusionary attacks. Anyway, let us today practice that. Practice remembering that any time that someone describes us as anything other than our truth, they're simply sleeping. They're simply riding the waves of their own fairy tales. And when you stand strong in your truth, you don't let fairy tales bother you. You don't judge people who are sleeping or buying into their fairy tales, just as you wouldn't judge some mentally ill person on the street. They're in their own world, a false world, but they believe it as true. Equally so, your brother or sister, when they attack you through judgment, anger, resentment, jealousy, they're in their own world. It is not true. But they see it as true. And they will buy into it as long as they think it offers them something. But in the end, they'll find out it offers them nothing. I mean, you know that. And so today, let us stand strong in our truth. And let us not let that bother us. Let us simply immediately forgive their illusions. And anytime we're trying to buy into it, let us forgive. And so either let us simply let them be in their illusions, in their fairy tale. That's one. And if we start feeling the embers of the ego in us reacting to their fairy tale, then let us just immediately forgive. Come back to our center and forgive. Just like we would forgive children who call us dodo brains or whatever. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. I love you very much. If you would be so kind as to like or comment on the video, it helps with the listing. Also, I would love to respond to any questions you might have. It will be my honor. Thank you again very much. I love you very much. And God willing, we'll see each other tomorrow. Peace.